No Time to Die waves goodbye to Daniel Craig as the suave and sophisticated spy, James Bond. It introduces a new 007, a new villain, and a bunch of new gadgets. Unfortunately, the pandemic pushed its release back almost a year, and this stifled much of the hype. But now that it's been released, was it worth the wait? My answer is yes, and here's why. Craig's Bond first exploded onto the big screen in 2006 with Casino Royale. Off the bat, it was clear that this Bond would not be like the others. The gimmicks, gadgets, and wholly inappropriate handling of women was gone, replaced instead with dogged determination, brute force, emotional insecurity, and a penchant for not listening to authority figures. Unlike the previous, arguably interchangeable iterations of Bond, whose contributions to the franchise were predominantly standalone adventures, the team behind Craig's Bond decided to create interconnected sequels and focused on developing the character across the pentalogy. We've seen Bond fall in love and learn to trust, and then suffer the loss of that love and therefore the loss of the desire to trust, which taints every new relationship he tries to nurture. There have been undeniably jaw-dropping action sequences, along with battles of wit fought solely with words, most notably the alarmingly sensual exchange between Bond and Silva. In No Time to Die, Bond faces a new villain, Lucifer Safin, whose dastardly plan threatens the survival of the whole of humanity. However, his purpose is primarily as a catalyst to bring Bond and Madeleine together to face their past demons and each other. I mean, it's a Bond film. The audience already know that the bad guy will not win, and it won't end in an apocalypse. In fact, very little of this film's huge runtime is spent on Lucifer. As captivating as Rami Malek is, he doesn't do much in his scenes, apart from give monologues about his tragic past and the potentially tragic fate of the future. At one point, he lets an important hostage go for no real reason, and I can't help but think that there must have been a better way to have that hostage escape. In any case, he's no Silva or Blofeld or even Le Chiffre. Lacking a truly menacing villain means that this film occupies a similar space in the pentalogy as Quantum of Solace. This, on the surface, is a little problematic, given that that film is likely the low point of the series. Both films prioritize developing more of Bond's emotional side instead of spending time on making an iconic nemesis. In the case of Solace, this was in response to the tragic loss of Vesper. It was a strange direction to go to for a sequel, but it is not so strange for a finale. Whereas in Solace, Bond was a young man wrought with anger, in No Time to Die he has matured in every way. He's still smart both in combat and conversation, but his stunts are less pompous and more calculated. He even accepts the help of Naomie, the new 007, a little begrudgingly at first, but ultimately in a less prickly manner than Casino Royale Bond would have. His demeanor in No Time to Die can be summarized by one scene, that of the Aston Martin being riddled by bullets in the middle of an Italian village. After a fight with Madeleine, who sits squirming and screaming beside him in the car, Bond is entirely blasé about the onslaught of bullets that are being absorbed by the bulletproof glass around him. He is sat there thinking how to react to the argument he just had, and is far more concerned about his relationship rather than his potential demise, an attitude that he carries throughout the film. Brilliantly, Bond ends this confrontation by activating miniguns that pop out of his headlights, then doing a donut of death and disappearing in a puff of smoke. Whereas Casino Royale Bond's most complicated gadget was a defibrillator, No Time to Die Bond is happy to let Q's gadgets do their job. There are a number of other gadgets that get used in the film, and they felt like a heartfelt homage to Bond history, but never in a cheesy way. Speaking of Q, he along with the other supporting actors all were given ample screen time without removing the spotlight from Bond. There was a lot of panic online before the release of the film that the new 007 agent Naomie would pose a threat to the series, but she never felt like she was there to replace Bond, nor is she a protege that he must train. Naomie is simply an agent who is doing her job. she is there to support him, not become him. Furthermore, with her battle-appropriate outfits, Naomie provided some much-needed contrast to the stereotypical Bond woman, embodied by Paloma in her barely-there silk dress. Played by Ana de Armas, Paloma is perhaps the only character that actually stole the show from Bond for the brief time that she was on screen for, with her witty dialogue and notably haphazard but undeniably badass fight sequences. Indeed, all of the action in this film is well executed and immerses the audience in the moment, using evocative sound and production design, camera movements that flow, and intelligible editing, which gives space for you to actually register what is going on, rather than the ridiculously confusing fast cutting that is prevalent in many other action films. There's a beautiful scene in a forest where Bond outwits numerous enemies by utilizing the fog-filled environment. It's unexpectedly eerie and truly one of the most memorable examples amongst many in this film that showcases how creative action can be as a genre. In terms of if the plot made any sense, I had no qualms with it. Yes, as I mentioned, Lucifer is a tad underutilized, but this didn't spoil my overall enjoyment of the story because the film makes it clear the direction it actually wanted to go in. I also commend the writers for making the technology that Lucifer uses for his weapon easy to comprehend and not out of the realms of possibility. The solution was also fairly simple, and they didn't lead us on 100 runtime bloating dead ends to get there either. Every stage of the good guy's success had purpose, and luckily the film does not feel as long as it is. James Bond is an iconic character, but he was definitely in danger of being written off in the contemporary cinematic and social climate, which yearns for dramatic realism and for characters to face the consequences of their actions. Thankfully, Daniel Craig and the team behind the 5 films managed to update the character to make him feel authentic and relevant. Craig's Bond stands resolutely human, and No Time to Die is ultimately about the family that he has created for himself across the years, going from comfortably being a lone wolf to wanting to be part of a pack. We see him falter and throw away happiness because of his past trauma, and then we see him overcome this part of himself and allow others to love him. Overall, No Time to Die is a truly striking and bittersweet goodbye to Daniel Craig's Bond. It is packed with updated but recognizable tropes of the franchise that have been interwoven with exhilarating, emotion-fueled action. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to see more videos, and comment with your thoughts on the topic. Which is your favorite film in the Craig saga? For more film content, feel free to follow us on Twitter, Letterboxd and Facebook, links in the description. Otherwise, this has been Tea Break Film Reviews. My name's Michelle, and I hope you have a great day.